Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Flight Podcast. My name is Jacob Shanker.
And I'm Andrew Thomas.
Shut up and sit down.
We haven't even started week 6 yet, and there's been a ton of craziness. From COVID to injuries, it's been pretty interesting. And one of the major things is that Le'Veon Bell just signed with the Chiefs. And I think it's a good move. What do you think, Jacob?
In terms of from Le'Veon Bell's perspective, right? You're joining that defending champion team, which honestly, the Chiefs are the championship contending team even this year, right? I think for him, it's a great move. I mean, why wouldn't you want to join a team that has a chance to win it all this year? Especially considering coming from the Jets, who were the worst team in the NFL right now, and were one of the worst last year as well. So I think in his perspective, it's good for him. He's going to be in a good team. He's definitely getting his money. And how could he be upset? I know that it was coming down to the three teams, as I heard today. It was coming down to either the Dolphins, the Bills, or the Chiefs. I think out of those three, he made a great choice. I don't think it would have been good for him to go to the Dolphins. I don't think they would have used him well. The Bills, I think they could have used him well, but they're a more pass centric type of team, right? The Chiefs have become a bit more all around, but I still think that he's going to be able to execute well alongside Clyde Edwards-Helaire, as Andy Reid has been able to use Clyde Edwards-Helaire well with the rushing, as we've seen in the past couple weeks. So for him, it's been great. But in my opinion, honestly, for the Chiefs, I don't think it was that good of an idea, right? I know that it's only been a year, 2 years for this contract, but for him, Le'Veon Bell just hasn't been the same. We haven't seen him been one of the best running backs in the league since when he was on the Steelers. He definitely was not even close to how good he was last year on the Jets. He was a complete mess. He was all over the place. He really wasn't getting the amount of completions. He really wasn't getting he had three rushing touchdowns, one receiving last year. He didn't get that much yardage for the touches that he got, right? I just think that overall, especially for the money that he's getting, right? That's a lot of money. And I really think that it just wasn't a good move for the Chiefs. And another thing is, like I said, they have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They don't really need a running back. Their offense literally has everything. They have the offensive line. They have the quarterback, the wide receivers, the running back, the tight end, all of which are some of the best in the league. So I feel like it wasn't really a need for Le'Veon Bell. I get it. He was there. They wanted to take him, but for me, I think it was a bad move for the Chiefs.
Like I said, I think it's a good move. I think that you saying that Le'Veon Bell hasn't been good since the Steelers, but the Steelers had a good offensive line. The Jets' offensive line was trash. The Chiefs have a great offensive line. I think that's the key for Le'Veon Bell. And I think he's not going to be as good as he was in his Pittsburgh days, but I think he'll be definitely a lot better in his than when he was on the Jets. I think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire being a rookie, I think that they're going to start utilizing both of them at the same time, and also because like Le'Veon Bell, the Jets are terrible. They're the worst team in the league, I think, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
And I just like I don't think it's a bad move. And even if they're taking a risk, I don't think they are. I think that he'll perform well. I think that his experience in the league will help also. Maybe he can because he's also really good. He can help mentor Clyde Edwards-Helaire, give him some advice. I think that the Chiefs have nothing to lose. I think that they'll be good. I think the offensive line will help out Le'Veon Bell, and I think that he'll do very good, or definitely better than his Jets days.
So, I mean, I see what you're talking about, right? With the offensive line and that how he probably wasn't as good at last year with that terrible Jets offensive line. And you're right. They were trash. They were not good. And that was a big reason why Le'Veon Bell was not doing well. Yeah, I will admit that. But it's what the Chiefs are in. They're in a situation like what the Bucks are in, right? They have Ronald Jones Jr. and Leonard Fournette, both of which are great running backs, right? The Chiefs have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and they have Le'Veon Bell now. So both of which are great running backs. So the problem is, I think for a team, I know that it's you want to have more better, but both of them I don't think are going to succeed as you would want them to. You are not going to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Le'Veon Bell, I don't think really putting up big numbers unless one of them gets injured, which
Yeah,
hopefully
but why do
doesn't
you think they
happen.
signed Le'Veon Bell?
Well,
So
they just wanted to
what?
get more depth. They wanted to add
They're,
more to that running back,
yeah,
which
but they're
I
also giving him massive cash.
yeah,
So
they don't
you
need
could start
that.
playing him more.
They don't need to give him massive cash. They don't like
That,
why would they want to pay all that money for a running back when they
that's the
don't.
downside to this. That's the downside to
Yeah,
this.
that's a big downside. They just did not need a running back. I think it was unnecessary for the Chiefs to sign him. I think if the Bills, because here's the thing, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a good running back. Even though he's a rookie, he's probably been the best rookie running back so far this year. He's been great on rushing, touchdowns, everything, especially that first game on opener.
He
Wow,
was good for that game.
it was great. And that's just the start of how great he's going to be used throughout the rest of the season. We've already seen the connection between him and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and how great they've been. So I think Le'Veon Bell is really going to screw up that system he has with Andy Reid. That's what I think.
Well, about the system screw up, I don't really think that he's going to screw up their system. I think that they're just going to have to work to adapt to his needs. Obviously, he's Le'Veon Bell. He's a good running back.
Yeah.
He's starter quality. I think that like y- you could change your system for him. Change you he If you give him plays, he'll be able to do it, and he's a good rusher. I don't know why you see this as a bad move.
It's because it's mostly for me, I mean, it's the amount of money they paid him. And I think they want to try and utilize Clyde Edwards-Helaire more. This is going to get him less rushes, which means we're not going to really see Clyde Edwards-Helaire get better and better as we've seen him do. We've seen him progress and get better as a running back, even though in certain games they've been more pass centric rather than rush. But I think overall, I don't think it was great because I mean they didn't need him. Like realistically, they did not need him.
No, they didn't, but they get better with him.
I mean, sure, they get better, they get stronger with their
Yeah,
running
so
back
that it's
core.
definitely not a bad move.
It's not a bad move, but I mean it's a mixed feeling for me, right? Because it's like okay, they upgrade in running back core, but in a way, they also have a downside because you're not going to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire do as well. You're not even going to see Le'Veon Bell do as well as people would think he will do because they're going to have to split their rushes on each play. And I think for Le'Veon Bell, if he went to the Bills, we would have seen him being used more because compared to
Yeah,
him
I
and
think
Devin
Devin
Singletary,
Singletary. I think he's a much better fit for their system, and he's also a much better running back, in my opinion, than Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary isn't
oh,
bad, but he's not Le'Veon Bell, and I think Le'Veon Bell is really good.
yeah, Devin Singletary has been much worse than he was last year in his rookie year. But I think Le'Veon Bell would have been a lot better if you wanted to see to get more rushes or to get more opportunities to do better on a team. Why not have one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best teams in the league, right?
Yep.
So,
Well, you also have that with the Chiefs.
I mean, yeah, but you're not going to be the first option for running back. I think at first it's going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And then once they start going in, it's going to be Le'Veon Bell because they don't want to have someone that's new to the system and make him RB1.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I guess I still think it's a good move though. It's really gonna be hard to
I
change
think
your
it's
mind.
mixed. I really think it's mixed. I don't think
So it's not a bad move, but it's not a
it's
great
not a
move.
bad move, but it's not a good move.
I think it's
That's
good.
what I think.
All right.
How do you think this is going to have an impact on fantasy football with Le'Veon Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire? What do you think people should be doing?
For fantasy football, that's tough because you never know. Look at like you said before with Leonard Fournette and Roy Jones Jr. There was one game I had Leonard Fournette on the bench because he was projected to have like 5 points or something, and he dropped 28.
Yeah.
So you never know. Like Clyde, can't even speak. Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Le'Veon Bell can have a great game.
Yeah.
I think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is obviously on probably most fantasy teams, if not, he should be on all of them.
Yep.
I think that you should start him in your flex, and for Le'Veon Bell, you should honestly, I'd wait it out to see how he adapts to the system. I think he's going to do good, and if I was him, I don't have him on my fantasy team, but if I was him, I'd probably have him at RB2 or flex, and I think that it's something that you probably don't want to take as a risk. I think he's good. I think that for that's good for fantasy football.
I mean, I feel like yes and no. It's good because I think for Le'Veon Bell, the fans that have Le'Veon Bell, all the people that have him, I think we're going to see him get more points. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we're going to see him drop. He's
Yep.
not going to be that top 8 running back everyone was saying at the beginning of the year. A lot of people, a lot of analysts, just a lot of people in general, in a lot of leagues, they pick up Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round. We're not going to see that in either future leagues or just in the future. He's not going to be an RB1 for most likely the rest of the season. I think he'll be a good RB2 alongside Le'Veon Bell, like you said. I don't think either of them will be RB1. So if you don't have another top running back that is probably better or that is going to perform more than Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Le'Veon Bell, I'd look into trading, picking up, doing whatever you can to get that guy.
Yep.
Let's move on to the best teams in the NFL. We're going into
Entire NFL.
the entire NFL. We're going into week 6. Who is your team that is the best that you have seen been the best all around this year? Go.
All right. This is going to sound a little biased, but I'm really not biased because I am not a Chiefs fan, and I just gave you my pick. It's the Chiefs.
Seems like you are a Chiefs fan, huh? Much more recently.
Patrick Mahomes, he's the best player in the world. Travis Kelce's the best tight end. I think he's slightly better than George Kittle, and he's definitely better than George Kittle in this system. They have Tyreek Hill, ridiculously fast. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell as your running back core. That's ridiculous. Their defense isn't fantastic, but it's been all right this year. It only let up one game over 20 points. And even though they lost to the Raiders, I still think that the Chiefs are Super Bowl favorites for me. I think Patty Mahomes, he'll be able to lead. Like, look at what happened last year. They went down by, 21-24 to the Texans, and they came back in the second quarter. They ended up dropping like 60. Who does that?
60. They didn't drop 60, but yeah, they came back from
24. It was 50 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Who does that in the play? And that's ridiculous.
Patrick Mahomes.
They have they have one. I think they have probably great. They have great receivers, great running backs. One of the best offenses.
All right, I'm gonna be blunt. I think you're crazy, and I'll tell you why. On paper, you're right. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tyreek Hill, Le'Veon Bell now, Mecole Hardman, all these guys, great on paper. They really, even individually, last year, individually, they are great players. But we haven't seen them been able to execute as well as a defending Super Bowl championship team, right? For me, they're third in the best teams. I'm going to say mine. I think the Packers have been by far the best team in the NFL. Number 2, I would put the Seahawks because of how good Russell Wilson and that offense has been. The only reason I put them at 2 and not ahead of the Packers is because of that defense. That defense has been god awful. That was not good. But if we're looking at the Packers, right? Aaron Rodgers, does that ring a bell? I know Patrick Mahomes has been one of the best players
He's
in the world.
Bad man.
Exactly. You're saying it yourself. Exactly. He's a bad man.
I still think that the Chiefs are better, though.
But here's the thing, right? Aaron Rodgers, unbelievable. He hasn't thrown
MVP, second team All-Pro, probably.
I mean, I think he is good. He's probably, I think for me, the second best quarterback. If Russell Wilson was not having as good of a season as he is in these first 5 games, it would be Aaron Rodgers winning it, right? If let's say like Russell Wilson just stops doing it as well, Aaron Rodgers, I think, will probably has a good chance to honestly win it. But if we're not going to talk about individuals, right? We're going to talk about as a
Team as a
team,
whole.
right? We're talking about as a whole. Okay. So the Packers have been better completion. They don't have any interceptions. Better passer rating. Their offensive line has been better than the Chiefs. They've only given up 3 sacks to the Chiefs 6. All right? That's for passing. Rushing. The Packers honestly, they have been rushing better. I think they because Aaron Jones,
Aaron Jones is really good.
he's nuts. They've been getting more rushing yards, more yards per carry. I mean, he's been unbelievable for the Packers. I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been great also, and I know he's a rookie, and I know with Le'Veon Bell now how it's going to change how that running back core
Oh
is going
yeah,
to
obviously, but yeah, and Aaron Jones is better than those two guys, in my opinion. I think Aaron Jones is really good, but
Yeah.
we got to talk about as an offense as a whole. Don't forget about the receivers. I know they have Devontae Adams, but the Chiefs have Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill.
Exactly, but the only thing that the Chiefs beat than the Packers is passing yards. That's the only thing. The
Yeah, but
Packers beat
that's still a
everything
massive
else.
efficiency in offense, though. That's how that shows that they're really good on
Okay.
passing.
They haven't been efficient. They have not. They a lot of the times they just chuck the ball up. I've seen it. They have not been complete.
That.
They have not. He had no. Patrick Mahomes has not been completing as good as he normally should be doing.
Okay, but the Chiefs are still a ridiculously good team. They lost
You're
one
right.
game.
No,
They're
you
like
are. They
4-1.
they are a ridiculously
Yeah.
good team. But I mean, compared to the Packers, if the only thing that the Chiefs, if because the best thing about the Chiefs is their offense. Their defense is not bad. It's about average. I
Definitely
mean,
been a step up this year
you
from
could
last year.
argue that, but some of these games have been getting more or less close. I mean, I know they lost to the Raiders, and the Raiders have just been really good on the defensive and offensive end, but they also almost lost to that Chargers team, and the Chargers are not particularly
Justin
great.
Herbert.
That was his first game that he played, and they almost won. Yeah, I remember he was told 5 minutes before the game started, "Oh, you're gonna play." That was him, right? Now, okay, I want to move on to defense. I want to talk about the defense for a sec. The Packers defense is undoubtedly better than the Chiefs, 100%. The Chiefs have 4 more interceptions, 1 more sack. Besides that, the Packers beat the Chiefs in every single category. I mean, if the defense
But we're
is
talking about
doing well,
defense and offense as a whole, though.
exactly. We're talking about defense and offense as a whole. If the defense is better than the Chiefs, if the offense has been playing
Also, you got to look at the score. I think that if you're outscoring your opponent, that's how you win games. Obviously, you outscore your opponent.
Obviously, and have the Packers not been outscoring their opponents?
They have, but like I still like if you're taking the Packers versus the Chiefs, I'm taking the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are a better team. I think Patrick Mahomes is the better, like he's not a better leader than Aaron Rodgers. I still think that the Chiefs have a better offense, and I just I can't even speak right now. What is wrong with me?
Because you know I'm right. That's why.
No, they're not right. The Chiefs are better.
Why? You can't just keep using Patrick Mahomes as an excuse. He hasn't been that best player in the world type of caliber. Going into the season he was the best player, but right now if I wanted to pick a quarterback to help me win the championship this year, I'm picking Russell Wilson. Next person I'm picking, Aaron Rodgers. Then I'll take Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes will come third. I don't know what is going on with that man. I don't know if it's the wide receivers. I don't know if it's.
Oh, you think he's been playing bad?
Huh?
You think he's been playing bad?
I don't think he's been playing bad, but for him supposed to be being the best player in the world, I don't think he should be doing much better.
Also, I'd like to mention on the podcast that remember when you said that Lamar Jackson was also better than Russell Wilson?
I changed my mind about that.
All right,
But
that's something I
I
can
think
fit
what's
into.
really no, the real thing I think that's impacted how Lamar Jackson and how Russell Wilson has been playing is the people around them. Lamar Jackson has been obviously the best player on the Ravens, but the people around him on that offense have not been great. Marquise Brown had one good game. Mark Ingram has not been good. Mark Andrews, he's been a bit inconsistent. He's had about two good games. But you look at Russell Wilson and that offense. I mean, I don't think there's one position that has done bad. Wide receiver, running backs, they've been remarkable. They've been one of the Seahawks have arguably one of the best wide receiver cores in the league.
DK
And
Metcalf,
tight end Greg
Tyler
Olson,
Lockett.
yeah, yeah, Tyler Lockett, the prime modern Megatron. I mean, he's DK Metcalf is crazy, but also Greg Olson. He hasn't been bad. I think Mark Andrews has been better, but Greg Olson, honestly, for his age and for what he's getting, he hasn't been bad. So, I mean, in that terms, yeah, Russell Wilson has been better, but it's really just the people around him. I think if Lamar Jackson was given the players around him, Lamar Jackson would probably do the same. You don't think he would?
No, because Russell Wilson
Even
is a passing heavy quarterback, and Lamar Jackson is more of a rushing.
well, obviously, because he doesn't have anybody.
Well, yeah, but for Lamar Jackson still last year, he had a ton of people that were better last year. Mark Ingram was better last year. Everyone on the
Yeah, Mark Ingram
everyone on
was
the
playing
Ravens
better.
was better last year.
Not than the Seahawks on the wide receiver core. They still had DK. Everybody pretty much stayed the same. The only thing that changed for that Seahawks team is tight end, right? They
Yeah, but
they
I
have
still
a
think
better.
that I still don't think that Russell Wilson does work. I still don't think Lamar Jackson does better than Russell Wilson in the
I,
Seahawks.
I think they do about the same.
I
I
think
think
they do worse. Winning wise, I think they 5-0. I still think that Russell Wilson outperforms Lamar Jackson. I don't even know how many touchdowns he had. 2 5 touchdown games in the first 3 games. He had like what 14 in the first 3 games or something.
let me ask you this: if Tyler Lockett, so if Russell Wilson was put on the Ravens team, let's say Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson, they
If
switch.
Russell Wilson's on the Ravens do better.
You think Russell Wilson will still be doing as well as he did? You think he'll still have two five-touchdown games?
No, I still think that the Ravens do better though. I think that if Russell Wilson's on the team, the Ravens have a better chance of beating the Chiefs and not having that loss on their resume for the season.
I mean, I think they'll do.
I think
I
you
think they'll have a
underestimate Russell
chance at
Wilson.
getting back at the Chiefs, but I don't think he'll do much better because I think a lot of the reason why quarterbacks do so well and why they're some of the top is the people that's around them. For example, I mean, this is a great example. Deshaun Watson. Where has he been? I mean, what happened to him being top five, arguably, last year? And
DeAndre Hopkins left. Look at what happened to
exactly,
Kyler Murray.
exactly, exactly.
I
And how's
still
Kyler Murray doing?
phenomenal, but
And who?
I still think that Russell Wilson does better on the Ravens.
No,
He'd utilize Mark Andrews more. He'd utilize Marquise Brown, and he'd definitely be utilizing Mark Ingram more.
Mark Ingram they've been using. He has just not been good.
Not really, not as much as last year.
Yes, they've been using him a lot, bro. I think it what defines a good quarterback obviously is what they can do when they utilize the things they have, but also when they have a lot of great options around them, that changes the way that that quarterback is like and how they play and how they look, right?
Yep,
Russell Wilson will probably win MVP,
probably.
right?
If not Aaron Rodgers.
If not Aaron Rodgers, yeah. But even with Aaron Rodgers, he's got the options, right? Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. I mean, they. I think that in terms of that, I think Russell Wilson won't do much better than Lamar Jackson, and vice versa. But I want to get back to the Chiefs and the Packers. I will still take Packers. I think it could be subject to change. I think something has got to
I
happen,
think
and they have
everything's
to
subject to change at this point.
at this. Yeah, anything's subject to change. I mean, but I think just overall how both teams have been playing, the Packers have just been remarkable. They really have, and I think that's something that puts them ahead of the Chiefs is how efficient they've been on both the offensive and defensive end. So that's my final remarks on this take.
My final words: Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs offense, very good.
Very good.
Aaron Rodgers, Packers offense, worse. Defense is better. I still think offense is more important than defense in football. Those are my final words.
I would not go into that. I mean, look at the Patriots last year. Well, they had one of the best defenses in the league, and that was probably, I think, honestly, that was one of the probably, if
What
not,
happened with Ryan Tannehill?
well, yeah, obviously his offense is great, but you're saying that offenses matters more than defense doesn't mean much. If you think that the Patriots' offense was better than their defense last year, you're crazy, right?
They still lost in the divisional.
Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, but that was mostly because of that interception late in the game. That was Tom Brady.
Oh yeah, Tom Brady didn't perform.
I mean, yeah, but now he's on the Bucks, so we'll see where
Why
that.
Tom Brady?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs.
I think they will.
I think they have a chance. I honestly don't think they may not. I think it's all lies in the hands of Tom Brady, as it always does.
Yep.
So he's getting older. I would not bet on it. All right, that's all for today, everyone.
Feel free to comment down below what you thought about the Le'Veon Bell acquisition, and who you think is the best team in the NFL. If you got the Chiefs, say Andrew's right. If you got the Packers, say Jacob's right. But you know I'm right.
No, not at all. Tune into the next episode on Monday. See you guys next time.